With the beginning of the economic crisis, President de la Madrid gave the starting shoot of a neoliberal economy in Mexico. Mexico City became open to foreign investment and private capital. In order to guarantee its growth, Mexico had to overcome its lack of objective data. INEGI, the National Institute of Statistics and Geography, has been established by the national government. INEGI was not just a bureau of statistics. Its uniqueness is based on the fact that its collection of information is directly bound to Mexican land property with its communal past. The geographical unit developed to unify the national territory is called Area Geostatistica Básica, AEGB, and is a statistical subdivision by similar socio-economic characteristics. The population became a statistical entity. From this moment on, economical, social, and environmental manifestations of Mexican nation enter a regime of biopolitics. What these mean to urban planning and how we can take a position within this form of power forms the context of this presentation. Urbanism in the Age of Biopolitics. The Associative Design research program focuses on the topic of global urbanization within late capitalism. The aim of this research program is to produce disciplinary knowledge in the field of urbanization by means of associative design techniques. By the term urbanization, we refer to the work of Ildefonso Seda and his extension plan for Barcelona. He invented this term, which refers to the Latin word urbs, to define the physical construction of urban growth by means of housing and infrastructure. In his book, titled General Theory of Urbanization, Seda defines 5 bases that are necessary to govern urban growth, beside the well-known technical base, which refers to the infrastructural measurement of roads and sewage systems. He also defined 4 more: the economic, the legislative, the administrative, and the political base. These 5 bases of urbanization, invented by Seda, cannot be reinvented anymore. They are instrumental to any city, and define the regimes by which the city processes its growth. In order to establish his general theory of urbanization, Seda used this first time the entire population as a statistical entity. This was, according to the Swedish philosopher Sven Olof Wallenstein, the beginning of biopolitics in relation to urbanization. In his lecture series of 1977 to 78, titled Security, Territory, Population, Michel Foucault defines the term biopolitics. By this, I mean a number of phenomena that seem to me to be quite significant, namely, the set of mechanisms through which the basic biological features of the human species became the object of a political strategy. Modern Western societies took on board the fundamental biological fact that human beings are a species. Foucault, in his lectures, expands on this definition by giving a series of examples of how biopolitics and population are both used to create an object of political strategy relevant for urban planning. He called this relevance the construction of an urban milieu. A milieu is what is needed to account for action at a distance of one body on another. It is therefore the medium of an action and the element in which it circulates. It is therefore the problem of circulation and causality that is at stake in this notion of milieu. The milieu is a set of natural givens, rivers, marshes, hills, and artificial givens, an agglomeration of individuals, of houses. Therefore, we can say that the milieu defines the physical properties of a city and determines which events can take place within it and which ones are eliminated. Mexico City may be called a pathological environment. Within the last 30 years, the city has rapidly decayed due to a series of environmental, economic, and governmental processes. Due to the historical and current situation in which large-scale institutional capital, being either the municipality of the city through housing projects like the one designed by Mario Pani, or informal developers or multinational corporations, take large parts of city fabric and develop it as a completely autarkic object. A clear example of this dynamic is the Mercedes headquarters in Santa Fe, completely autonomous also from the energetic point of view. As Alan Colcomb stated his essay, if one looks at any modern city, one cannot be struck by the fact that much of it consists of large pieces of real estate, each of which is financed and organized as a single entity. But however individual cases may differ, there is always one common factor: the enormous reserve of capital that exists in the modern economy, which enable either private or public agencies, or a combination of both, to gain control over even larger areas of urban land. Mexico City is an urban fabric organized at each level by discrete financial agencies, especially because the urgencies imposed by the continuous process of subdivision and administrative reorganization. Within this idea, the year-long research project takes the position that the multiplication of individual right to own and develop land can serve the city as a whole. The studio's position is taken as a preliminary conclusion of urban development within a city that seems to be sound to any form of traditional governance. During the 90s, the city center continued to lose population, notwithstanding the increasing demand for housing that finally has been accommodated in the periphery of the city. Against this dynamic, the policy bandados has been issued in 2000 for the Federal District as a ban for the production of housing outside its 4 central delegations. A renewed interest was projected in the consolidated city by the developers, and for some years the city has been reread, as the specific mapping developed shows, according to the housing production. Unfortunately, if the conjunction of housing production increased and market competition in the periphery continued to lower the housing cost, in the 4 central delegations the monopoly in production generated by bandados increased the land cost and subsequently the housing unit cost, without really attract any kinds of population back to the city center. Because of this depressured condition of Mexico City Center, and in opposition to other research proposals that have focused on the urban growth at the metropolitan area ages, we decided to act in the heart of Mexico City, in particular in the housing neighborhoods in the delegation Cuauhtemoc. The ideological position that this research collectively takes is not to find an ideal architectural form that represents the powers that govern our urban environment. Instead, we aim to unfold milieus that can provide a condition for situated freedoms, as coined by Sphinx Olof Wallenstein, for specific populations. We believe that these spaces and their populations are embedded within the forces of urbanization, but not yet actualized. In this context, we will present 5 projects. Each project takes one biophysical condition as its starting point, with the aim of arguing that architectural potential is inherited within its constraints or limitations. The 5 biophysical conditions are the soil, the biodiversity, the water, the voice, and the patio collective.